Okay, this is your last questions on your Chapter 8 review. These are questions 16 through 20. So as we go through these again, if you don't have exactly what I wrote, just make a quick note of it, because variations of the questions I told you will appear on the test. So question 16 says an equilateral triangle, which would be drawn like this, has all three sides the same, has a perimeter of 17.85 meters. The side length of the triangle in meters is 2, and I'm going to use x because I don't like k's, minus 0.5. What is the value of k? So for this question here, you know that there are three sides that make the perimeter, or 3 multiplied by the side length, since they're all the same, is the perimeter. So therefore 3 times the side length will equal the perimeter. So when I substitute what I know, 3 sides equals the perimeter will be 3, 2x's minus 0.5 will equal the perimeter. I will either use distributive property division first. I'll use distributive property, giving me 6x minus 1.5 equals 17.85. Isolate your variable. 6x equals 19.35. And divide 19.35 divided by 6, and you get your answer. Is this the correct answer? Okay. If Brock got it, then it has to be right. So x equals 3.225. Is that what you got? Okay, so all students with the names of BRO got it right. I don't know. Question 17 is Lorna took 3 of her friends to visit the zoo. The bus fare costs, oh, that's not what I want. The bus fare costs $5.50 per person, and the cost of admission to the zoo was the same for each person in the group. Lorna spent $109 altogether. What was the cost of admission? So X is going to be the cost of admission, right? The last thing in the question is going to be what is the cost of admission, so we're going to make that our X. So if there was 3 friends, then each of those 3 friends cost $5.50 for the bus fare, and the cost of admission, which is X, because we don't know it. And altogether it equals $109. This time, since it's a distributive property question, we're going to solve it by division first. If each person spent $5.50 in the cost of, then each person would have spent $5.50 plus the cost of admission, and that would be, oh heavens, 109 divided by 3. Did I make a mistake? Oh, there's 4 of them. Heavens to Betsy. That's 4, because there's 3 friends and her. Not you, you're not going. Equals, thank you very much. Look at that, I made a mistake. It is possible. So we're going to divide both sides by 4, not 3. And that'll be 550 plus x equals 25 plus 225, which is 27.25, is that right? Then I'm going to subtract 550, which is the cost of bus fare for each person. And that's going to be x equals $21.75. Is that correct? $21.75. Question 18, there are at least 2 of those questions that appear in one form or the other. More than likely, since we have variables on both sides, you're going to find one with decimal coefficients and constants and one with fractional. So all of these questions are important to know because 2 of them will appear and they're each worth 2 marks. So the first question says this. And if this was your question, of course, the first thing you'd like to do is rewrite it so that you don't have fractional coefficients explicitly as fractions, but rather something that looks like this. And we know that because 3/10 n is really 3/10 multiplied by n, which would give us that 3n over 10. Once we have fractions, the simple thing to do is multiply both sides by the common multiple of all the denominators, in this case 10. For those of you who are forgetful, don't forget to put your arrows in, and don't forget to rewrite each of these products as a separate question. Here I won't bother because it's already written for me. So either I get 10n over 5, which will be 2n, or I cross-reduce and get 2n. I either get 30 over 2, which is 15, or I cross-reduce and get 15. I cross-reduce and get 3n, or I get 30n over 10, which is still going to be 3n. So once I multiply both sides by 10, I get this particular equation. Take away the n from the side with the least amount, in this case the 2n. It leaves me with 15, equals n. And we're solved. We're done. 15 equals n for the first one. In the second question, 18b, we have negative 0.25 f equals 0.35 minus 0.45 f. The side that I have the least amount on, although it's a bigger number, this is less amount, so I'm going to add 0.45 f to both sides. 0 pair. Now, for those of you who suck at integer addition and subtraction, positive 0.45 combined with a negative 0.25, don't forget to put it in as negative, equals a positive 0.2. F equals 0.35. Divide both sides by 2/10. And decimal 35 divided by 2/10 is 175. So F equals 0.75. That's for B. Und C, which is easy as well because it's the decimal coefficients, it has 12.4. I'm going to make it X because I really don't want to deal with G's. G's are too hard to make. Plus 34.3 is equal to 9.5 minus 3.1x. Now, variables on both sides, so your first step is to get it away from both sides. The one that has the least amount should be the side you take it away from, so therefore I'm going to actually add 3.1x to both sides, getting rid of it on one side and making it larger on the other side. Now I have variables on the left, so I'm going to isolate everything on the left by subtracting the constant from both sides. 15.5 multiplied by the mystery number is equal to, holy snapping crow burgers, I can't do that in my head. So I take a positive 9.5 and I add to it a negative 34.3. Don't forget to hit the negative button. Press the equals button and it will tell you it's negative 24.8. Divide both sides by 15.5 to isolate, and Bob's your uncle. That number divided by 15.5 is x equals negative 1.6. Bob's Burgers. Question D. Ooh, I like question D. It probably appears on your test. Who knows? Something like this might. 1.4 times 2h plus 3 equals 0.9 multiplied by 3h minus 2. So this variation is we have distributive property on both sides, which is wonderful. So on both sides, I'm going to expand. 2.8h plus 4.2 equals 2.7h minus 1.8. Yes, I can do multiplication of decimals in my head. Once you have that, the side that has the least amount is this one, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides. Gone. Halfway to isolation. Subtract your constant from both sides. 1/10 of h is equal to negative 6. Now, do this in your head. When you have $6 and you divide them into piles of dimes, you would make 60. So h would equal negative 60. 10 piles makes a buck. $6 can make 60 piles of dimes. And your last question in question 18 is 18e. So easy, it's not that hard at all. We have this. So of course, Brock, you're going to multiply both sides by 12 is correct. This is going to, so I'm going to rewrite this 12 over 1 multiplied by 3v plus 2 over 3. Now, if you are a non-cross reducer and you multiply the numerators, don't forget this has to also be using distributive property here. So I'm going to get 36v plus 24 over 3. Now, because you didn't cross reduce, you still have to do this whole distributive property of division thing, making this into 12v plus 8 as a final answer. But if you were smart, which some of you are, not all of you, but if you cross-reduced, you would have still gotten 4 multiplied by 3v, which is 12v, and 4 times positive 2, which is 8, and you would have gotten the same answer without having to do this thing here. And you would have ended up with 12v plus 8. Now, on the other side, if you have 12 over 1 multiplied by 2v minus 1 over 4, if you don't cross-reduce, you get, use distributive property in the numerator, 24v minus 12 over 1 times 4, which is 4. Then you got to do this, which makes 6v minus 3. Okay, but of course, if you cross-reduced, like all intelligent children should do, you would have still gotten 6v minus 3. Okay, now we got an equation that's manageable. Subtract your 6v from both sides. Bob's your uncle. By the way, does anyone have Bob as an uncle? You have an Uncle Bob? So Bob is your uncle. Interesting. Subtract 8 from both sides. 6v equals negative 11. Dividez-vous by 6, and v equals negative 1 and 5/6. Exciting. Question 19 is on your test. It is a square with a shape, I'm going to make it x's, 3x plus 0.6. And then an equilateral triangle. Notice how it didn't use the 1 dot because it didn't want to confuse you and think that it was also the same length as a square. It uses 2 lines instead of 1 line. And it is 2x plus 4.6. So, what is the value of a, or x in this case? So in order to do this, I need to know that the perimeter, since the perimeters are equal, 4 of these sides will be equal to 3 of these sides. 4 of those sides is equal to 3 of those sides because their perimeters are equal. And once you've set up your equation using distributive property, you can simply expand both sides, this being 12x plus 2.4, and this side being 6x plus 13.8. So according to the rule, these sides are both equal. And if that's true, I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. And this will become a 6x plus 2.4, and this will become 13.8. I'm going to subtract 2.4 from both sides. 6x equals 11, yeah, that's 11.4. Divide both sides by 6. Am I wrong so far? Did I make a mistake? We're good? And x will equal whatever 11.4 divided by 6 is 11.4. Divided by 6 is 1.9. So x equals 1.9. But on your test, don't forget you're not done. That's only part of the battle. Since x is 1.9, 1.9 is going to go there, and 1.9 is going to go there. So instead of being 3 times x, it's going to be, Logan, 3 times 1.9, which is 5.7. So this here is going to be 5.7 plus another 0.6. That means each of these sides is 6.3 units long, because I substituted my x equals 1.9 in there, and this becomes 6.3. So the perimeter of this shape would be 6.3 times 4, which is 25.2 units. And again, if x is 1.9, this will be 3.8 plus an additional 4.6. That's 7. 8.4 would be its side. So if I multiply that by 3, I should get the same answer I got over there. And I do, because it's 25.2. So therefore, x is 1.9, and both perimeters are 25.2 units in length. Any questions on that before I continue? No questions? Question 20, don't worry about it. It's not in your test, so we won't bother with it.